Welcome back. I'm glad you could join us once again as we continue to explore the modern day application of galactic shamanism. I'm the founder and director of Path Home Shamanic Art School and your certified shamanic instructor, Gwilda Wiyeka. While shamanism is often seen as an earth based, magical, mystical modality, the shamanism practiced the last time we were in a high frequency era was actually a galactic form. This galactic form of shamanism was and is rooted in scientific principles. As we enter the dynamic frequency of the Aquarian Age, this more expansive shamanic form is once again becoming available. This ancient galactic-oriented shamanism is actually a method through which the practitioner can manage matter at the quantum level. As such, it can aid us during evolutionary times. Galactic Shamanism, Art of the Ancients, Key to Tomorrow is a series of leading-edge classes designed to aid and empower you throughout these transitional times. All the classes in the Galactic Shamanism series employ the circular learning technique and therefore build upon each other. It's important to take them in order to get the greatest understanding of the material and achieve the complete skill set as you engage the ancient art of frequency mastery. It's my hope that these classes support you on your path to wholeness and enlightenment as we once again become co-creators of reality. This is Galactic Shamanism Lesson 4, Power Animals, the Shamanic Art of Shapeshifting. I'm your instructor, Gwilda Wiyeka. In all shamanic forms, from the Native Americans and Celts to the Tibetans and Aboriginals, there's a common mystery, that of power animals. While practices vary across the globe, to a one, they include interaction with power animals, totems, and familiars. Every culture has stories of shamans shapeshifting into animals during rituals and healing practices. In all my years of study, I've found one thing which holds true. If something is constant across the board, you can bet there's truth to be found in the concept. While the stories may be fanciful and perceptions distorted and dogmatic, the origins of the myths, legends, and practices have a basis in fact. Through comparative mythology, amazing principles can be uncovered which greatly enhance our practices and capabilities today. What are power animals and totems? Do they relate to physical animals? And if so, how? Why are they used in shamanic practice? What's their purpose? Can shaman actually shapeshift? What is the application of totem animals and shapeshifting for the people of today? In Lesson 4, Power Animals, the Shamanic Art of Shapeshifting, we'll delve into these mysteries and so much more. We'll learn what these concepts have to do with frequency mastery, shamanic healing, and unearth the ancient principles that can balance and empower our lives today. So bust out your adventurous nature and prepare to embrace the seemingly impossible as together we once again walk into the land of spirit. For this class, you'll need the following items. This list and many of the items can be found in your student handout located in the class materials link supplied when you purchased the class. www.findyourpathhome.com/class-material. You should have already collected many of the objects for prior classes. In Touch with Spirit, The Shamanic Journey, Workbook 1 by Gwilda Wiyeka. Note, you should have already purchased this workbook for Galactic Shamanism Class 2, Lower World Shamanic Journey. For this class, we'll be using the Power Animals section and assignments. The Dream Codex by Mary Summer Rain. Animal Speak by Ted Andrews. Journey CD or MP3, either Betwixt and Between or On Wings of Spirit by Gwilda Wiyeka. A Bandana to Cover Your Eyes. A Pillow and Blanket to Comfortably Lie on the Floor. Your Trusty Journal and Pen. A Magnetic Compass. An Altar Cloth. your rattle, white California sage, and a container to burn it in, a fire stick, 4 directional markers, a candle and a candle holder, an earthen bowl and water, a single terminated clear quartz crystal, Heartbeat of the Mother MP3 track by Starfire. Again, this list is in your student handout along with the links to the required books and CDs or MP3s. As you recall, we start all of our classes by setting basic sacred space using the principles we covered in Lesson 1, 2, and 3. The purpose of setting space is to align ourselves and our location with the electromagnetic field of the Earth in order to establish a balanced, expansive frequency environment. For this class and those moving forward, include calling in your power animals with your customized prayers. Again, all we do, including gathering information and performing ceremony, is enhanced by a balanced environment that's aligned to and in cooperation with Earth and stellar energies. By including power animals, we further strengthen, refine, and balance the practice. Instructions for setting and activating the basic altar are in your student handout. Make sure to set the personalized altar you developed in Class 3, Sacred Space, and add calling in the animals for each direction to the process that you were given in the assigned journeys by including them in your customized prayers. After aligning with the Earth's electromagnetic field through the setting of your altar, intend to align with the space I've set for this class. It's been made available across time and space to support you energetically as you embody the material. You can access the frequency of this lesson anytime you wish to repeat the material or support your process by simply intending to do so. The beauty of a digital class is you can pause me. Yes, you have the power to shut me up at any time, and I won't even take offense. If you've not already set and activated your altar, go ahead and put me on hold in order to do so. Being outside of time and space, I have all the time in the world. We'll take up again as soon as you're ready. All set? Great, here we go. Most shamanic practice is an organized set of rituals enabling the practitioner to manage matter at the quantum level. To start, we'll view power animals from a frequency perspective. There's a shamanic illness known as power loss. It's most commonly and less than helpfully described as when, for whatever reason, a power animal leaves and another doesn't come to take its place. This brings up more questions than answers. What is a power animal? How many power animals do we have? Why would a power animal desert us? And so on. To start unraveling this mystery, let's look at the allegorical nature of power animals. There are all sorts of power animals. Some come when we do and stay with us our entire lifetime. These lifetime totems metaphorically represent and support our major strengths and aptitudes in any given incarnation. Metaphor or not, shamanically working with them supplies us with the focus and alignment to rebalance ourselves to our nature. We're engaging the shamanic power animal ritual to manage the quantum level or frequency of our personal expression. Everything expresses according to frequency. We each come with an optimum frequency range designed to support our chosen path during our lifetime. This frequency range is represented in our astrological chart, is expressed through our chakras, and the electromagnetic field driven by our heart, creating personal tendencies and strengths, often metaphorically represented by an animal with those same traits. This is an example of power animals that remain with us throughout our lifetime, our personal totems. Other power animals come and go depending on what kind of support or energetic expression we need at the time. For instance, if we're going through a time when we find our boundaries are not healthy and strong, skunk may come to remind us of the frequency expression we're lacking. No one messes with skunk. All he has to do is look cute, twitch his tail, and everything gives him wide berth. By shamanically working with skunk energy, we can align with the quantum level frequency we need to strengthen our personal boundaries. Once the correction is made and holds, skunk may drop into the background again. This is an example of a power animal that may come and go as needed. Which brings us to power loss. Through the bumps and bruises of life, we occasionally disconnect from a particular frequency expression. This is a shamanic illness of power loss. Power loss often accompanies the spiritual illness of soul loss, but we'll get into that in later lessons. An example of power loss would be a child with a controlling parent may need to disconnect from some of their natural frequency supporting their independent nature in order to get along. Left uncorrected, this disconnect could render them somewhat weak and dependent, while their original nature was to be independent. When we're forced to act outside of our nature, it limits our frequency mobility and weakens us, resulting in power loss. We can discover the nature of power loss by journeying to find a power animal to correct it. Through shamanic ritual, we can find the animal represented the power we have disconnected from. By aligning with the allegorical animal, we can reconnect with the frequency we have lost at the quantum level. This is a shamanic healing modality of power animal retrieval, which, in most cases, corrects a spiritual illness of power loss. So far, I've been describing a shamanic ritual that helps us use the allegory of an animal to focus our ability to correct personal frequency and balance. This method is powerful, profound, and common to all shamanic practices. It's also a technique you'll learn to use for yourself or on behalf of others in this very class. Now that we've examined power animals from frequency scientific view, let's engage the magic. Raven came calling. She flew in from the west, making a great show of flaring her wings as she landed on the light post just outside of my dining room window, where I sat with my morning cup of tea. The sun glistened off of her blue-black feathers as she cocked her head and looked in at me. "Hello, Sister Raven," I greeted her. "Do you have something for me?" She opened her massive beak and cawed loudly in response while looking directly into my eyes. "Well, let me finish my tea and I'll journey to you so you can show me," I said while taking another blissful sip. Apparently this time that wasn't going to be good enough. She took off from the light post and flew directly at my window. Just when I was sure she'd hit the glass, she banked, circled, and landed on top of the birdhouse just outside the bay window. The birdhouse had a steeply pitched copper roof on which she shuffled and slid, unable to find purchase with her talons. Undaunted, she continued her dance on the birdhouse roof while insistently cawing at me from less than 2 feet away. Okay, I gave in, giving my fresh cup of tea one last longing look. She took to the air again and resumed perching on the light post, clearly impatient for me to join her in spirit. I went to the room reserved for journey work. I lay down, put on my drumming music, and covered my eyes with my trusty bandana and went into trance. My power animals came and took me in spirit to just outside my house where Raven waited on the light post. She took to spirit form and to the air as I arrived, so I followed her as she banked and headed north, as the crow, or in this case, Raven, flies. We flew rapidly, the landscape a blur, as we went from Colorado to Wyoming. Soon we banked again and flew directly through my mother's front door. My mother was sitting in her recliner, a red robe, unaware of me as I was in spirit form. Her lips and fingers were blue and her face swollen. I hardly recognized her. "Your mother needs you," Raven's voice said in my mind's ear. We returned as rapidly as we had gone, and before I knew it, I observed Raven re-enter her body on the light post, and my spirit joined my physical body back in the journey room. I thanked Raven, and my spirit helpers got up and went directly to call my sister. "Gad, Gwilda, I hate it when you do that. You're so uncanny it gives me the willies," my sister exclaimed when she answered before the phone rang. "I just picked up on the phone to call you. Mom's not doing well, but we can't get her to go to the doctor. Dad and I hoped you could talk some sense into her." "Give me about 3.5 hours and I'll be there," I responded. I hung up and called downstairs to my son. "Mark, your grandmother's sick. I need you to get me to Casper pronto." "I can do that," he simply responded, and we were in his car and underway in less than 5 minutes. Now, a word to the wise. You don't just tell a 16-year-old boy in a 280Z, "Just get me there." When the highway patrolman pulled us over, he clocked us doing 120 miles per hour. No sooner had the ticket been issued and the patrolman had disappeared over the hill in the opposite direction than we were back up to speed, so to speak. We were in Casper in under 3 hours. When we pulled into the drive, 4 ravens and the feather were perched on the majestic pines bordering my parents' house. They started cawing as soon as I got out of the car. Not bothering to ring the bell, I opened the door and stepped inside. There, in her recliner, wearing the same red robe I'd seen during Journey, sat my mother, face swollen, lips blue, fighting for every breath. "I knew you'd know. I knew you'd come," she gasped. "Yeah, it's what I do," I responded. As the Raven story indicates, there's an uncanny relationship between power animals and the behavior of real live animals in feathers, scale, or fur. I have endless personal stories as well as those of clients and students whose power animals came to them in the flesh and gave them profound information that later came to pass. The meaning of this information can be accessed through journey, as in the case of my Raven accounting, or through interpretation of allegory. In fact, there's an entire shamanic form of divination that uses the appearance of animals in nature to gain information or foretell the future. It's an amazingly powerful and accurate form once mastered. So how does this all add up? Once again, everything expresses according to frequency. Our personal interpretation of the physical world is done through our 5 senses, registering frequency as in sound waves, light waves, and beyond. These frequencies are then translated into agreed upon allegories that we consider the real world. Frequency is not random. Just as each individual person has a unique set of harmonics, a family carries a conglomerate of frequencies anchored by their common DNA. Take it out another step, and races have common frequency expressions, as do species. If we go to yet another level, the Earth is being comprised of all the frequencies of her constituent parts, including humans and animals. As individual family, tribe, or species, we hold an integral part of the frequency expression of the planet. Hence the importance of standing in our true nature. When any part of the whole is out of alignment with itself, illness sets in, affecting the entire system. The planet is also bathed in and affected by the frequencies of the universe. The energetics of life are interconnected at the quantum or spiritual level, where the combination of frequency harmonics work together in perfect interrelated synchronicity. No one frequency can change without affecting the whole. Nothing happens in a vacuum or by chance. These shifts manifest in ordinary reality through the behavior of everything from animals to the weather and provide us clues as to the overall currents affecting us. Thus, the synchronistic behavior between spirit animals and those in physical form. The nature of reality is a much debated and confusing topic. Currently, our concept of reality is very limited and monodimensional. We actually live in a holographic reality comprised of fluid synchronicities. The holographic reality is generated by our allegorical interpretation of the frequencies bathing us at any given time. The past, present, and future is all represented there if one knows how to read it. For millennia, shamans have used metaphor and the behavior of animals and omenology to accurately read the currents of life. Many other divinational forms, from runes to the tarot, are designed to access the synchronistic currents of life. The limiting factor is our narrow perception of reality. This restricts our ability to decode the information we access. What we consider to be physical reality is actually a collection of symbols. We use these symbols to translate frequency into a form that's user-friendly to the linear mind. The gap between perceived reality and that of the holographic nature of reality is vast. Those aware of the holographic nature of reality realize that the hologram itself is a metaphor for the frequencies present in the moment. Frequencies are by their very nature fluid and changeable. Therefore, the hologram is also malleable. People living in what we consider to be ordinary reality perceive these holographic symbols as solid, real, and fixed. Those cognizant of the holographic nature of reality see life as clay, to be molded, where others see it as already fired and set in stone, unchangeable. People living in the awareness of the hologram appear quite mad to those who do not. It simply doesn't compute. Thus, the half-mad reputation enjoyed by many shamans. For the shamanic perception is simply of the timeless, fluid, malleable, holographic nature of the world. In review of material from early classes, the Earth's spin around her iron core creates her electromagnetic field. The human heart pumps and spins blood in a spiral configuration. The red blood cells contain iron, like the Earth's core, and the spin provided by the heart creates the electromagnetic field around the human body. In one form or another, the same holds true of animals, plants, elements, and so on. Virtually all things have an electromagnetic field. Everywhere one electromagnetic field, or toroidal field, crosses that of another, so-called X-points are created. These X-points are actually wormholes or shortened distances in time and space. X-points are the access to non-ordinary reality navigated by shaman. Anytime we engage ceremony to align the human electromagnetic field with that of the earth, we're empowered by her. This holds true whether we're in our heart or in our head. However, it is the heart that creates the electromagnetic field, not the head. In order to navigate X-points to access non-ordinary reality, the quantum level, we must therefore engage the heart. Now that all this heady stuff has our collective eyes crossing, it's time to bring in the heart. As I just mentioned, it's only through heart connection that we can navigate the X-points into non-ordinary reality where esoteric knowledge can be accessed. If we simply understand the material without engaging the heart, we're virtually dead in the water. The paradox being we have to have a heart connection with our power animals regardless of whether they're symbolic or real, for only through the heart connection can they help us navigate non-ordinary reality. We can conceptually travel to the edges of physical reality, but that's ultimately a recipe for madness when not grounded in the heart. Understanding the holographic nature of reality is necessary to accurately translate esoteric information, but we need to engage the warm, fuzzy, and lovable to be effective. When we consider the very nature of the holographic reality, ultimately, our power animals are as real as we are. So journey with, cuddle, love, and feed your power animals often. How does this relationship with power animals work? There are as many ways to commune with power animals as there are reasons to do so. For instance, in Galactic Shamanism Class 3, Sacred Space, your assignment included journeying to each cardinal direction to ask what power animal would represent it. We'll now take that exercise one step further. We each have physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual relationship with each direction. That's how we energetically interact with the Earth's electromagnetic field at the quantum level to maintain our alignment with life. Yet everything is always spinning, wobbling, flying through the galaxy and processing. Thus things shift and change moment to moment. As humans, we all have physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual restrictions that inhibit our ability to adapt as quickly as things change. The frequency of the power animal that was given for each direction serves as a governor between you, your restrictions, and the constant fluidity of the direction it represents. When you include calling in the power animal in your prayers to that direction, you are directing your intent to include the counterbalancing properties of the animal. An interesting and enlightening exercise is to triangulate the qualities of each direction with the traits of the animal and your personal field. When trying to translate shamanic information to a format that makes sense to the linear mind, I use a method called triangulation. This technique is also used in detective work. Basically, we'll be looking at the phenomenon from numerous viewpoints to get a more complete picture. In the case of directional power animals, we'll compare the traits of the animal as found in Ted Andrews' Animal Speak with the qualities of the four directions combined with journey work. This examines the information from the viewpoint of the power animal traits, the qualities of the direction, and journey information, providing the three different perspectives needed for triangulation. At one point, I was given snake for the east when journeying on the prayers to set my altar to support my life purpose. Snake stands for transformation and rebirth as they grow out of and shed their skin. They can also be seen as having a great earth connection since, having no legs, they crawl on the earth on their belly. You can't get much more connected than that. The East is the place of childhood, sunrise, beginnings, innocence, receptivity, spring, and new growth. I jotted this information down in my journal. Next, I comprised an intention and bottom line as it related to the understanding the role of snake in the East position. Given I want to live in joy, abundance, ease, longevity, and good health, and intend to live my life purpose, what lessons can I learn from snake as they apply to my relationship to the East? I went on a journey and was shown a snake blinded by the film over its eyes from its shedding skin and unable to move or eat until the shed was completed. Then I triangulated once again using my intention, bottom line, and combination of information I had just obtained. In effect, there was no abundance as the snake could not eat, longevity was in question as it was vulnerable to predators, and it was frozen, unable to do anything, much live its life purpose: mice to eat, den to build, eggs to lay, and all that. This condition was blocking new beginnings, innocence, receptivity, spring, and new growth until the shed was complete. Journey information often creates as many questions as those it answers, so I journeyed again and asked, given my intention and bottom line, what does the snake's skin in my last journey represent? I was shown my shamanic practice and my relationship to it. At that point, I'd been doing everything exactly as I'd been taught, my understanding limited to that of my original teachers. Then I was shown a scene of myself while doing search and rescue, marveling over the triangulation method I often observed the police officers using on the case. I heard, "Life knows the way. You're the translation point. Until you shed your old relationship to your practice, you'll be unable to move forward. You can no longer do your life purpose from dogma." Now, why didn't they just tell me that in the first place? Without the mystery and resulting detective work, I would not have fully understood the statement, nor would I have learned to use triangulation in shamanic work. I would not have understood that I need to combine the shamanic information from all my teachers with data from the earth, the way life works, to get the complete picture. Also, if I hadn't been curious enough to journey on what Snake was recommending for the East on my life purpose altar, I would still be plodding along to this day using a format that no longer served. I had to let go of what I thought I knew, embrace the innocence of childhood, and begin again. In short, shed my old skin, aka dogmatic practice, as it was binding and restricting me. Without the entire process, this information and much more would have been totally missed. Seek and ye shall find. The more you seek, the more you find. From the last example, it becomes clear how much more power and precision our practice can have if we take the time to consistently customize our altar, power animals, and prayers to the task at hand. If I'd simply used the generic altar, prayers, and power animals rather than journeying to find the ones to support my life purpose, I may never have become aware I needed to modify my practice to better accomplish what I came to do. When working with the really important issues in life, there's no replacement for customization. Bearing in mind, however, we never abandon the tried and true principles common to all practices, but rather customize them to meet the needs of the present. The altar ceremony aligns us with the toroidal field of the earth and the power found therein. The more custom the altar is to us as individuals, the more sound that alignment. Prayers focus and drive intention. The more customized the prayer to the intention and bottom line, the more accurately we will wield power. Power animals correct frequency imbalances that interfere with our reaching our intended goal. There are imbalances present that may not affect one goal, but throw a major wrench in another. Using the right tool for the job becomes paramount. The way to find and use the proper tools? Customization. With that in mind, let's revisit our power animals representing each direction on the altar you created during Lesson 3, Sacred Space. As these classes progress, there'll be more assignments presented than you can complete during class time. When you're preparing to journey, whether during class or outside of class, to complete assignments, always set up your altar and call in your power animals to create sacred space and support your process. Sacred space provides a more expansive frequency, facilitating the journey practice and enhancing our ability to take in and understand esoteric data. Journey to your directional power animals. Starting with the east and working clockwise to the south, west, and north. Do this entire process for your power animal that represents one direction before proceeding to the next direction. Journal all the east information under the title East. Using Animal Speak, look up and record the characteristics of the animal in your journal. Refer to your Lesson 3 Sanctuary Student Handout in the Prayers to the Directions section to find the traits of the direction you're working with and record them under the appropriate title in your journal as well. Compose and journal your intent, bottom line, and question as it applies to better understand the frequency correction represented by your directional power animal. This is a journey you'll probably do for every one of your most important altars, so the wording will shift slightly depending on what altar it's for. For example, mine was, given I want to live in joy, abundance, ease, longevity, and good health, and intend to live my life purpose, what lesson can I learn from Snake as it applies to my relationship to the East? You'll be researching your personal altar rather than a life purpose altar, as in my prior example, so compose your intent and bottom line accordingly. What is your intent for your personal altar? To strengthen your practice? In which case, you may choose, given I want to live in joy, abundance, ease, longevity, good health, and intend to strengthen my personal practice, what lessons can I learn from, name the power animal, as they apply to my relationship to, name the direction? Remember, the power animal from each direction will be correcting any frequency imbalance you currently have that otherwise prevents you from strengthening your practice as it relates to the qualities of that direction. Next, assume the position, aka lie down, cover your eyes, and put on your headset. Journey to the east as we just discussed. Complete, journal, and interpret the assignments for each direction before moving to the next. You'll take a lower world journey for each one of the 4 directional power animals you've been given for your personal altar. If you find you need further clarification, take yet another journey, as I did when asking about the meaning of the snakeskin. Journal the journeys, look up the animals in Animal Speak and the metaphor in Dream Codex, and record the information in your journal under the title of the corresponding direction. Triangulate the information to decipher the frequency compromise in each direction and journal your conclusions. The beauty of this exercise is that it alerts you to any frequency imbalance you may have interfering with your life goals and shifts needed to give you an opportunity to clear them rather than simply compensate for them. Compensation even when you have a power animal to do it for you, is energy expensive as the power animal runs off of your personal energy. Imbalance takes time and maneuvering to correct, creating drag. Yes, more on that later. Once all of this is complete, you can take another journey to each direction and ask, given my intention and bottom line, what do I need to know, do, or heal in order to correct the frequency imbalance currently being compensated for by, name the power animal, and the direction. You can do 3 journeys, one for each, know, do, and heal, or if you've mastered the back and forth journey, you can perform the journey for all 3. I'll explain this method next so you can try it out for this assignment. In case you haven't noticed, all this requires a lot of journeying, so take your time spreading it out over several days. Just be sure to set sacred space each time you journey, giving gratitude and closing space when you're done. You'll not only be strengthening your journey skills and customizing your practice, you'll also be performing a shamanic healing through the deepening understanding and frequency corrections that result from the work. As promised, here's the back and forth journey method. Now that you have several classes and multiple journeys under your belt, creating subroutines, let's engage a shortcut method, creating yet another subroutine. In the case of the journeys to customize your altars, there are times you may have multiple short questions. To do the entire journey process for each one, including waiting for the callback beat, can be time-consuming and exhausting. On the other hand, you need to document the material from each question thoroughly before moving on to the next. There is this little complication with journey space. It's unified outside of time and space. Our questions are linear as they come from ordinary reality. It is very important to keep the information provided as a result of each question separate from the next, or you just end up with a big jumble, very difficult to translate into ordinary reality format. To fill this need, I've developed the back and forth journey. For instance, the next time you journey to customize an altar, journal your question, intent, and bottom line under each directional heading, leaving plenty of space between headings to document and translate your journeys. Using track 1, the 1-hour journey on either On Wings of Spirit or Betwixt and Between, drumming for the shamanic journey, assume the position and perform a lower world journey with your lower world power animal. Before leaving, read and memorize your first question, intent, and bottom line. Once you arrive in lower world, tell your power animal you wish to start working with the back and forth journey format and ask it to create a chamber between lower world and middle world for you to come and go in. It may appear as a bubble in the room where your body is, or something similar. In lower world, state your intention, bottom line, and question. When you feel you have the complete information, ask your power animal to take you to the chamber between worlds. Once in the chamber, leaving your headset on, sit up in ordinary reality and journal your answers under the appropriate heading. You may feel a little dreamy while you do this as you're between worlds. Do not try to decipher your journey at this point. Instead, read your next intention, bottom line, and question from your journal, lay back down, and ask your power animal to take you from the chamber back to lower world. Repeat the procedure until you've either completed all your questions or you find you're starting to feel spacey or tired. After your last question, or when you feel fatigued, ask your power animal to take you completely back to middle world. You don't need to wait for the callback beat, just return when you're done. Be very methodical and specific about the journey home so you completely collect yourself. Thank your power animal and see yourself re-enter your body, sit up, remove your headset and journal the results to your last question. Now you can go about the business of looking up and interpreting the information you've gathered. Be mindful to apply the answers to the appropriate questions. From this time forward, you need not wait for the callback beat. When you're done with any journey you may be on, simply return as instructed when complete. The callback will serve to limit the time spent in journey. For instance, say I have 40 minutes before I need to see a client. I would choose track 2 on the 30-minute track on either recording. The callback would play when my time was up if I hadn't already returned, enabling me to relax knowing I would be on time for the appointment with my client. Now for your garden variety power animal retrieval. We all have multiple instances of power loss. In fact, at this point in history, we could retrieve an entire zoo and still not have restored our full frequency range. We all experience bumps and bruises resulting from living on the planet during lower frequency times. In addition, as we incarnate from spirit, we must leave behind some of our potential to drop down to a bandwidth that can exist within the ambient frequency of the current ordinary reality. Once again, this is an instance where intention and bottom line come into play. Rather than going out to find a power animal, any power animal, think of an area of your life that you feel you could use some support. Compose your intention and bottom line accordingly. An example could take us back to my intent to live my life purpose. Now, I've always been a purpose-driven fool, wanting to make a positive difference in the world. However, that tendency has often left me vulnerable to exploitation, or has resulted in my doing more for others than is in their best interest. Gotta trust a person's path and all of that. In this instance, my intent and bottom line in regards to a power animal might read, given I want to live in joy, abundance, ease, longevity, and good health, and intend to live my life purpose in a way that best serves all concerned, I would like to find a power animal to help me discern what is mine to do. That narrows it down so I'll get the power animal I need, customized to the situation at hand, based on how I want to live my life and what's important to me at the time. After recording your intention and bottom line in your journal, assume the position. Use track 4 of either journey drumming recording. Feel free to come back after the callback beat if you're finished. Just be sure to be very specific to accurately retrace your steps on your way back. Call your lower world journey power animal to you and tell it your intention and bottom line for the new power animal you're seeking. Journey to lower world. When you get there, call out your intention and bottom line and request the appropriate power animal to come join you. Once your new power animal arrives, ask it how you can work with it. Once done, retrace your steps, imagining your new power animal coming with you and your lower world journey power animal back to middle world, and see your spirit lie back down into your body. Again, be very specific to return exactly as you came. Retracing your steps exactly is doubly important when you're carrying a new frequency for yourself or another person. The frequency bandwidth needs to systematically step down from its expression in the quantum level in order to be present in ordinary reality. If you do what I did the first time I found a power animal, it won't go well. I was so excited to have bagged a critter, I just sat up without journeying back and found myself hovering over my expectant client, empty-handed. Quite embarrassing, really. Journal your entire experience and look up the symbols you encounter. Find a picture or a small statuary of your new power animal to represent it in your home and or on your altar. This will serve to honor it, give gratitude, and remind you of its presence in your life. Working with power animals is an organized set of rituals to manage your personal frequency at the quantum level. As simple and as complex as that. When you receive a power animal designed to help you with a difficulty you're experiencing, this particular power animal represents a frequency range you've either disconnected from or didn't come in with. Once the power animal retrieval has been completed, the frequencies it carries are present in your spiritual field at the quantum level. However, there's this little matter of integration. You've probably lived most of your life without access to these frequencies. Your belief systems are built around the resulting limitations. You've designed workarounds and defense mechanisms to compensate for the lack, creating neurological ruts that result in knee-jerk reactions to situations requiring the missing frequency. Negative feelings have probably developed around instances when the missing frequency bandwidth has caused you difficulty. Now, every time a situation arises requiring the bandwidth of frequency heretofore lacking, you go on autopilot drop into fear, engage the defense mechanisms, and superimpose the events of the past onto the present, making a rerun out of the future. Even though the needed frequency is available, rather than embracing and using the newly acquired frequency, you fall into your old neurological ruts. This effectively prevents you from manifesting the healing into your physical world and requires retraining, or what I call integration. Once the power animal retrieval has been performed, the correction has taken place at the spiritual or quantum level. The frequencies have been transduced to be user-friendly in the mental, emotional, and physical levels. However, achieving a complete healing requires integration of the frequency correction into the mental and emotional level in order for it to have effect in the physical reality. While this sounds extremely complex, and mentally speaking it is, don't underestimate the power of simple love and gratitude. Fortunately, you don't need to understand the anatomy of the dysfunction. Instead of trying to mentally ascertain what you need to do, whether you find yourself confronted with a situation requiring the new bandwidth of frequency, stop. Don't do anything. Take a deep breath, close your eyes, and call your new power animal to you. In your imagination, see your power animal join you and fill you with its presence. Drop into your heart and embrace your love for the faithful animal. Become aware of how grateful you are you now have it in your life. The heart engages, X points open, and you now have access to the frequency represented by your power animal. You're able to move the new frequency from the quantum level through the X points into your mental, emotional, and physical bodies. You don't need to do anything beyond intending it so, and the integration will happen automatically. It's not brain surgery. The entire situation will change as a result, creating a different outcome. After faithfully performing this ritual for a while, you'll burn new neurological pathways, develop trust to abolish the fear, and your life will drastically change as a result. This is just one example of shape-shifting magic. It was not long after I'd received my new power animal to help me discern what was mine to do that I was confronted with a person that used to manipulate and exploit me through my desire to serve. I saw him heading my way with that look in his eye, the one that said he wanted something and I was an easy mark. Not really expecting it to help, I dutifully closed my eyes and silently called my power animal to join me. My co-worker suddenly stopped in his tracks and looked me up and down, frowning in confusion. "You've changed," he finally accused. Yes, yes, I have. And the answer is no. Do it yourself." The poor man did a frighteningly accurate rendition of a fish out of water. I felt not so much as a twinge of guilt. It was a reality-altering moment for me. He tried to engage several times after that, but never made it far enough to even start his spiel. I would silently call in my power, and he would back down, looking really disturbed. Finally, he approached me at a company banquet we were both attending. "What have you done? What have you done different? You don't even look like the same person," he demanded. "What are you talking about, David? She looks exactly as she always has," the co-worker in line next to me exclaimed, saving me from having to respond. "No, she's different. She's changed," poor old David reiterated with a wild, crazy look in his eyes before backing out of the banquet line without his food. He never approached me again. Match the frequency of the reality you want, and you can't help but get that reality. It can be no other way. This is not philosophy. This is physics. Albert Einstein. It's also the shamanic art of shapeshifting. The concept of shapeshifting is universal among shamanic practices. Ancient stories abound of shaman literally taking on the form of an animal. Now, I've never personally experienced someone sprout feathers, but I have to tell you, it would not surprise me at all to witness it. Why? During more restricted frequency times, things change very slowly. As a result, we inherited the conceptual reality that matter is mostly fixed. We used to believe that the rate of radioactive decay was a constant until scientists on a space station observed the rate of decay slowing down during a solar flare. When bombarded with the high frequency of a solar flare, the ambient frequency became higher, causing the radioactive substance they were observing to lose energy more slowly. Whatever does this have to do with shape-shifting? Everything expresses according to frequency. Belief systems set frequency. Shamanic ritual manages frequency. Both are limited by the ambient frequency at hand. Shape-shifting is not an either you do or you don't kind of deal, but rather a matter of degree. I may not be able to physically shapeshift into a raven, but through spiritually interacting with the frequency of my raven power animal, I was able to obtain information about my mother's health, otherwise unavailable to me. I used my loving connection with Raven to transcend X points, thus accessing unified quantum level information. When I journeyed for a power animal to help with my life purpose and discern what was mine to do, I was then able to perform the power animal ritual as needed. Aligning with my power animal, the resulting shift of personal frequency created heretofore missing boundaries. My exploitive coworker was no longer able to manipulate me. Well, I remember him squinting as if he could physically see the energetic change. Empathy is also a form of shapeshifting. Through aligning with another, a true empath can experience what's transpiring in their physical, emotional, mental, or spiritual landscape. Energetically, the empathic individual is shifting their personal frequency at either the physical, emotional, mental, or spiritual quantum level to align with that of their client. This enables them to embody and observe what the other person is experiencing, a useful skill for any medical intuitive. There's much indication we're currently entering a more highly charged portion of the galaxy. I believe there was a time when the planet was in an area of the galaxy containing such expansive frequency that the laws of nature, as we conceive of them now, did not apply. As we move into this expansive frequency time, the rules are once again changing. Just like the concept of a fixed rate of radioactive decay doesn't hold true at a higher frequency, many of our current beliefs may be equally limited and up for reevaluation in the near future. As we're exposed to greater bandwidth of frequency, we can enjoy much more flexibility of expression. We are, however, limited by our personal restrictions and belief systems, as well as those held fixed at the society at large. The antidote? Power animals. Through the power animal ritual, we can expand our limited frequency bandwidth and more fully embrace our potential. Just clay. Matter is truly clay and follows spirit. Yet we think of it as already fired, set in stone, with spirit trapped inside. Power animal retrieval is a shamanic skill you can easily perform for others. There are, however, specific guidelines you'll need to follow. First, in observation of the 5 basic laws of shamanic practice, you need to have the person's permission and be free of personal agenda. Next, to the best of your ability, explain to your client the purpose and function of power animals in our daily lives. You need not go into the scientific and physics behind the concept. Better to keep it simple at first. Help your person compose an intent and bottom line as it relates to the power animal you'll be bringing back, and record it in their journal. Set sacred space in the room while you'll be working. You'll need sage, your rattle, and a single point clear quartz crystal. Clear your crystal and rattle by running them through the sage smoke. Provide your client with a pillow and a blanket. Sage your friend and instruct them their job is to remain present and receptive. You'll be doing the journey for them. Assume the position. With your friend lying down next to you, touching at the shoulders, hips, and ankles, place your rattle nearby and hold your crystal in your fist and over your heart. Call your lower world journey power animal to you. Tell it you're doing a shamanic journey to obtain a power animal for your person. Perform a lower world journey. Once you arrive in lower world, state your client's intent and bottom line. Call out for a power animal that wishes to come help them at this time based on their intention and bottom line. Allow your power animal to take you further into lower world in search of said animal. You'll need to see the animal 3 times for it to be the one you're bringing back. Note, a herd of buffalo is the equivalent of 1 sighting. You may see other animals in the process that will have meaning also, so take note of them as well. Once you've encountered the third sighting, ask the power animal if it's willing to come help your person. When they give their permission, reach your hands out, holding the crystal in ordinary reality. In your imagination, see the power animal enter the crystal. In physical reality, return to holding the crystal to your heart. Don't wait for the callback beat. Instead, ask your lower world power animal to bring you back to middle world exactly as you came. Remember, accurately retracing your steps is very important, as you're now serving as a transducer for the frequency upgrade you'll be delivering to your client. When you return to the room, see yourself lie back down into your body. Leaving the headset on and the drum recording playing, get up on your knees and lean over your client. Hold the butt of the crystal to your lips, aiming the point of the crystal at their heart without touching them. Blow on the crystal. In your imagination, see the power animal leave the crystal and sink into your friend's heart. Help your friend sit up and repeat the procedure by blowing the power animal from the crystal into the top of their head. Shake your rattle around your client in a spiral configuration to seal the deal. While doing this, envision your toroidal field separating from theirs. Thank your power animal. Remove your headset and have your client get their journal and pen. Relay the entire journey to them in as much detail as you can manage while they record it in their journal. Do not offer any interpretation or suggested meanings beyond clarifying your experience. How you felt and what you heard may be as important as what you saw, so include it in the telling. Once the journey is recorded, show your client how to look up animals and symbols in the appropriate texts and record that also. Instruct them on how and when to call their animal to them. Suggest they acquire a picture or statuary of their animal and talk to it often. Include your client in sharing a prayer of gratitude to their new animal as you say your normal closing prayers at the end of your session. Example is the greatest teacher. There is an ancient ritual used in shamanic practices that engages in tension, dance, and drumming to access the essence of whatever or whomever the practitioner is shapeshifting into. An example of this is the good old war dance. Facilitated by the tribal shaman, this dance enabled the warriors to embody their power animals and all the aforementioned accompanying benefits thereof before going into battle. In preparation for the upcoming battle, the shaman would have performed a power animal retrieval, bringing the warriors their power animals and guardian spirits. A shamanic artisan may have made each warrior a personal shield, including physical representation of the power animals such as bones, hide, or fur. For example, I crafted my shamanic rattle using elk hide, fox fur, and oak, representing some of my major power helpers. The warrior may even don a headdress or ceremonial robe made out of their power animal's pelt or feathers. This practice gave the warrior physical access to the frequency of the DNA of the animal they were working with, further facilitating alignment. Depending on the tradition, the warrior would undergo some form of purification to prepare for the dance, such as in the case of the Lakota and a Nepi or sweat lodge ceremony. This cleansing would remove much of the human imbalance and resistance and induce an altered state of consciousness, rendering the warrior more fluid and able to take on the frequency of their animals and helpers. The dance was usually performed to drumming and chanting, with the warriors moving clockwise in a circle around a fire to build power. As you remember from past classes, clockwise movement in the northern hemisphere works with the Earth's spin rather than against it, thus empowering the intent of the practitioner. The dancers would bring their power animal to mind and often begin by moving like their totem. Soon, they would make calls and noises like the animal. As the dance progressed, it would become more frantic, with the participants really embodying the animal to the point that the spirit of the animal would begin dancing the warrior. It was then and only then they were ready for battle. Trust you me, this is not a warrior you'd want to encounter should you happen to be their enemy. Across cultures, there are numerous accounts of superhuman feats performed by individuals having prepared in war dance. Now, to engage in the energetic art of shapeshifting like the warriors of old, we'll dance our power animals. For this exercise, you'll need the MP3 Heartbeat of the Mother listed in your supply list. You can purchase the MP3 on our website, findyourpathhome.com/store. You can set it up to repeat until your dance is complete. Set up and activate your altar or medicine wheel in the center of the space you'll be using for the dance. You'll use your rattle, or if you own a hand drum and are comfortable playing while dancing, feel free to use it instead. Have a representation of your power animal on your altar or on your person. A piece of jewelry, a picture, or statuary is fine. Sage the space yourself and all the participants, drums, rattles, and representations of the power animal. Stand next to your altar, preparing to dance clockwise around it. Start the music. Call your power animal to you and invite it to dance through you. Close your eyes and envision it entering your body. Start to move your body like you would imagine your animal moves as you shake your rattle to the beat and dance clockwise around the altar. Soon, you may feel like making the sounds of your animal. Feel free to do so. Make it as realistic as you're able, as this facilitates embodiment of the animal's frequency. At some point, you may discover you're moving and calling out automatically without intending to do so. This is when your power animal is dancing you. Just don't bite anyone. Continue until you feel complete, replaying the MP3 of the drumming as you feel necessary. You'll know the end of the drumming is drawing near when you hear my war cry on the recording. Once the dance feels complete, lie down on the floor or ground if outside, next to your altar, and feel the power of your animal cruising through your body. Slowly return to yourself, thank and release your power animal, and close the altar with the appropriate prayers of gratitude. I realize you may feel a little awkward doing this at first, but the results are amazing. I wish I could be there to dance with you. One of the most rewarding things I do is teach children shamanic skills. There's a special set of classes I've developed for these gifted little ones called Children of Tomorrow. During these classes, it's amazing to watch children bond with their power animals. And when they dance, wow, the child disappears and the animal is in the room. Now that we've investigated all the benefits of working with and embodying our power animals, it's not difficult to recognize the power that engaging the practice will grant our children. Children haven't forgotten how to manage matter at the quantum level through engaging imagination. It's as natural to them as breathing. Here's how to do a power animal retrieval for a child. With your child or grandchild's permission, and that of the parent when applicable, perform a power animal retrieval for them using the method learned in this class. Keep it simple. You can start by asking for the major totem that will come to support the child at this time in their life. Once the retrieval is complete, you can research the animal together, being careful to keep the explanation age-specific. Kids get it. It really doesn't take much explaining. Have them tell you why they think the power animal is here to help them right now. How are they like their power animal? What can they learn from the animal's behavior and traits? Have the child draw a picture of the animal to put up on their room or on the family altar or medicine wheel. Explain the basics of the dance. Kids love costumes, so letting them dress up to look like their power animal is always fun. Open the altar and put on the heartbeat of the mother, drumming for shamanic dance MP3. Then let the child teach you how to dance. Explain the concept of gratitude to your child or grandchild and why you use prayers of gratitude to show appreciation for your power animals. Be sure to involve the child in authoring the prayer of gratitude for their animal and together use it in closing the altar. As always, example is the greatest teacher. For our next class, Galactic Shamanism Lesson 5, we'll not repeat the entire list of supplies. At this point, you'll use the same articles for every class. We will include a supply list in your student handout for each class. I'll mention any changes in or additions to your supplies at the beginning of the class presentation. I look forward to sitting in circle with you again as our shamanic adventures continue. Should you find you need additional support on your personal path to wholeness, Path Home offers long-distance shamanic healing sessions performed by myself or one of Path Home Shamanic Art School's certified shamanic practitioners worldwide via Skype or phone. Contact us for an appointment at www.findyourpathhome.com or email us touchin@findyourpathhome.com. Another wonderful provision for the evolving human being is Mission Evolution Radio Show. As we leave an age of polarization and enter one supporting unity and enlightenment, we're granted a rare opportunity to evolve. This evolution of consciousness requires a different approach. By bringing together seemingly divergent viewpoints and applying them to leading-edge subject matter, we can uncover a more expansive and evolutionary truth. Mission Evolution Radio Show, hosted by yours truly, Gwilda Wiyaka, is a radio program dedicated to bringing together today's leading experts to uncover ever-deepening spiritual truths and the latest scientific developments in support of the evolution of humankind. Mission Evolution Radio Show is aired daily and internationally on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net. Past innovative episodes can be found on our website, www.missionevolution.org. If you've enjoyed this class, explore our ever-growing collection of classes designed to support spiritual evolution and personal empowerment during these changing times. Stay tuned to www.findyourpathhome.com for our latest offerings. I sincerely hope you've enjoyed this, the fourth lesson in the Galactic Shamanism series, and that it brings you and your family wisdom and comfort on your sacred path to wholeness. Until we meet again, my friends, may you and those you love forever dance in power.